Welcome to GAB with ALisa Profiles on MetroCast Channel 10. Grab a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and make yourself comfortable because we have an incredible story to share with you today. Today we're going to profile Pastor Michael Barber from Dominion Apostolic Church in Lexington Park. Now, in and of itself, starting up a church in the heart of Lexington Park is an incredible story, but wait until you hear what came before that. Like I said, you're going to want to sit back and really relax and be ready. This is going to be a great program. As GAB with ALisa Profiles, Pastor Michael Barber. We'll be back in just a moment. You're watching MetroCast Channel 10.
Why smart people buy their used cars from Jack Fitzgerald. Reason number 1.
The most important reason to buy a car from us is our 138-point inspection report. We check the car out thoroughly, and we put a copy of that report in your glove compartment so that you know as much about that car as we do before you buy it.
Shop our entire used car inventory at fitzmall.com.
And that's the Fitz way. There's just no better way to go.
You're watching GAB with ALisa Profiles on MetroCast Channel 10. Thanks for joining us. Today, my guest is Pastor Michael Barber from Dominion Apostolic Church. It's so nice to have you on the program.
It's an honor to be here.
You know, you just never know when you see somebody on the street or out in the community what's going on and what has gone on in their lives. I want to share a little bit with our audience before we get into conversation about how I know you and how I've come to invite you to be on the program. Okay. I knew Pastor Barber before I knew he was a pastor from St. Mary's County Recreation Basketball Leagues. Both of my girls played basketball in St. Mary's County Parks and Rec, and you are a referee.
Yes. I've been refereeing now for, I think, 13 years.
Wow.
The third, fourth grade, also biddy ball this year. So I really enjoy just having my hand in the community because I really think it makes a difference when you're connected to your city, especially as a pastor.
Well, you know what? It does make a difference, and a referee is necessary to keep order in games. Okay, so it's necessary, but it's not a very beloved position.
No, it's something where you take a lot of ridicule and punishment, but if you keep focused on the purpose at hand, which is the kids, and my main point is you have 10 kids on each team. That's 20 kids plus 20 families. So no matter 1 hour, you're able to reach 20 families. And if you show love to the kids, you're showing love as well to their parents. So it makes a difference. And
that's exactly what you did and why I have been so interested to talk to you. As a referee, like I said, before I ever knew you were a pastor, just knew you as a referee, black and white stripes, saw you on the court. When you are in the younger ages of park and rec basketball, there is a rule that the defensive team cannot cross the three-point line for a period of time. The rules are made to even up the skills, but they're a little convoluted for new players. And if the defensive team passed the three-point line too fast, then there was a foul called and ensuing angst. Yeah. You were famous among parental circles for the kids running down the field, and Michael would reach down, run down the court. Sorry, I'm not an athlete. run it down the court, and the kids would pass the three-point line too early, and you would let them know you can't do that, blow your whistle, what have you. But sometimes you would just pick them up and scoot them back 2 or 3 feet in such a kind, funny, compassionate manner and just let the game continue playing. Also, one of the games that we were in, there was a little boy on our team, and he had some challenges, some physical challenges. But the last game of the season, our team and the opposing team had decided that everybody was going to play back, and you helped him go up and score a basket. He shot it and he made it.
Great job, too.
But I'll never forget that.
Yeah, I believe there's power in touch. One thing that it's easy to tell a child to move to a specific position or do something different. But when you actually go to a young child and touch them and let them know that what I'm saying to you, I'm saying out of love, it makes a difference. When there's the verbal plus the touch, and I built a relationship with these children now where I touch them moving into certain spots, and then I let them know they smile, I smile. Now, when I see them in Walmart, because of the touch that we've shared during the game. It's like now, once they evolve in life, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, now in high school, I'm still seeing these young kids, and it's so great from those few moments you have on the court. It makes such a big difference, and what fuels me is seeing them smile. And when they smile, their parents are smiling. Because I have a 5-year-old daughter myself, and I love when my daughter smiles. So when I see a child smiling on the court, it lets me know mama's happy, daddy's happy.
Absolutely.
And then they leave at peace, and they've enjoyed that 1 hour. And I was able to make an impact in their life for 60 minutes.
And you know what, getting out and playing basketball, sure, everybody wants to win, but there are so many more life lessons that are taking place.
Yes.
And I love how you talk about touch and compassion and love, because in this day and age you have to be very, very careful.
Yes.
But the way that you did things, just picking that little person up and scooting them back, there was never anything other than compassion. Here, let me help you. Let me help you. And I loved how you did that. So let's fast forward a couple years, and my family knew you from that experience. Fast forward a couple of years, you have planted and opened up a church in Lexington Park, and have reached out to MetroCast and said, hey, this is what we're doing for our community. Can you help us promote that? And you've come in several times.
Yes.
I want to talk a little bit about your church, what your hopes and dreams are for Lexington Park. But before we get all the way there, we need to back up even further. You were born and raised here in St. Mary's County.
Yes, born and raised here in St. Mary's. We went to Park Hall, then to Spring Ridge, and then to Great Mills. I graduated in '92, played basketball and different things. I love the city, so I love St. Mary's County. So it's and then after that, I went to the military for 3 years down in Fort Benning, Georgia. Had a great time there. And then I ended up coming back here in '99. In '99, prior to coming back, I got involved in a lot of things that would normally shock people. I was involved in gangs, involved in selling drugs, all types of what we call in the church world sin, you know. And I was involved in pretty much everything that some folks see me now that really would be shocked that I was involved in. But it took me going down that route to get me to where I am today. I was sharing with you earlier, I think it was '99, I had come to a point where I got stabbed at the Super 8 motel, and I was laying on the back steps, and during that time I really realized something's got to change.
You know what, let me stop you there for just a minute, because we need to take a quick break.
Okay.
Referee Our Young People with Love, Compassion, Tenderness, and Teaching has started a church in the heart of Lexington Park to serve the community. Was a drug dealer in our community. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back in a moment. We're going to talk about where he's been, where he's gone, where he and the church are going, because this is an incredibly dramatic story of change. We'll be back in a moment as we continue to profile Pastor Michael Barber on GAB with ALisa Profiles on MetroCast Channel 10.
Life is a journey. Every day is a chance to do more, be more, and be better. Hi, I'm Dawn Campbell. Join me on this journey to be your best, whether you're working in a cubicle, managing a full house, or entering a new chapter of life. If you feel good, you look good, inside and out. Join me each week for Be Your Best on MetroCast Channel 10. We can do it together. Be Your Best is brought to you by Burris' Old Town Insurance, an independent agent representing Erie Insurance Group.
In financing, our focus is on saving you money and getting you the best terms. And our customers will tell you that.
I had a bad experience someplace else. All she wanted me to do the minute I walked in wasn't look at cars, was fill out a credit app. So when I came here, they were all about me, not about closing a deal. I feel so compelled to tell everybody that buying a car as a single woman, it can be really fun. My name is Cheryl, and I am an ecstatic Fitzgerald customer.
Welcome back to GAB with ALisa Profiles on MetroCast Channel 10, where we take a look at people in our community who do amazing things to change the world around them. We've been profiling Pastor Michael Barber, who has planted a church and is doing phenomenal things in Lexington Park, but the story is even bigger and broader than that. You were talking before we went on break about something that happened to you in 1999. You were a drug dealer.
Yes.
Okay, so let's talk about that whole circle that you were in. You were born in St. Mary's County. You went to school, you joined the Army, you came back. How did you get into that life?
Well, really, if you hang around the wrong people, you'll do the wrong things. And I couldn't find a job, and ended up being around friends that sold drugs. So I became a product of my environment, if you will. And then I ended up finally, I gave it up after, I'll say late 98, close to 99. But at that point, I was in pretty deep, and it was hard to get out, but it was something that I had to do. Because I had a son, and when you have a son, you have to sometimes eventually think about your future.
Right, and think about their future as well.
You know.
It took a very dramatic and almost life-ending situation.
Yes,
you were
yes.
stabbed. What is that story?
Yes, I was stabbed at the Super 8 motel next to Walmart down here. I never forget laying on the concrete wondering if I was going to live or not. And so I thanks to the Lord, I made it out. The awesome thing about it was 3 days later, after I got out of the hospital, I ran into my future pastor there, Bishop Staten, and my name was on the front page of the paper, and I was at the bottom. Mm-hmm. And then he came and he told me the words that he said, "Michael, was that you? I read about it in the paper." And I said, "Yes, it was." And he said, "Well, just know that I love you." And when he said those words, it changed my life.
Can we unpack that a little bit? Because here we are. This happened in 1999,
Yes.
15, almost 16 years
Mm-hmm.
ago. You're dealing drugs in Lexington Park. You're engaging in all kinds of
Yes.
unhealthy behavior. You're stabbed. You almost die. You're on the front cover of the newspaper. Someone comes in and says one sentence to you.
Wow.
That's very dramatic from one side to the other. What was the process?
I think it's the power of the spoken word. I believe that when someone, just as in basketball, as we just spoke of by saying one word of encouragement, one word can save a life. I believe, and by those words, that put me on the process to where I needed to be. And because when you're at the bottom of the barrel, you simply need something to grab onto. And sometimes words are something that you can grab onto and hold on and pull yourself up with. And when I received those 3 words of "I love you," while I was at the bottom of the barrel, that was the rope that helped me climb out of the pit that I was in.
What did you hear? "I love you." It's such an everyday, not dramatic statement. It means a lot of different
Yes.
things. You know, I love you to my cup of warm tea on a cold winter day. I love you to my child. I love you to my friend. You were in the hospital. You had been stabbed. You almost died. And this pastor says to you, "I love you." What did that mean to you? What did you hear outside of those 3 words that caused you to see a rope to grab?
Yeah, basically, when you're at the bottom, you pretty much see nothing but darkness. And for someone to come from their heart, there's some people that can tell you they love you, but then when you're at the bottom of the barrel, you can sense love, true love. And I could tell that it was coming from a heart of compassion. And once he said those words, "I love you," I said to myself after he left, him and his wife, whatever they've got, I got to get it.
Yeah.
And then it was that next Sunday I would end up going to church, and I've been there ever since.
You said you were a product of your environment. That's
Yes.
how you got started into drugs. So what changed after that? How did you change your environment?
Basically, I began to make a decision. If you weren't for me bettering my life, then I had to disconnect myself from you. And I started to hang around people who were in church, hang around people who were doing positive things, even job-wise. I ended up, I was cutting grass during those times. But then I started to hang around people who worked in offices. And from that point, I ended up getting a job in an office. So in other words, if you hang around people who are of negative content, then you end up doing something negative. But when you're around people who are doing something great in life and see more than where they're at, you'll start to see more. And a lot it boils down to vision and thinking. And I'm the type of person that I like to think outside the box. In other words, there's no limit to what you can do in God and in this life. And so once he told me I love you, my thinking came off. And then I started really thinking, you know what, I can do better. And then I started to take those steps, and now it's a blessing. I have a great job on base, pastoring the church. But it all came through receiving a word, and then changing my environment, and then making the steps towards bettering myself.
Oh my goodness. This is such an impactful story. I knew that I liked you when you were a referee, which is a really hard sentence to say. No offense to referees. I'm usually on the other side. Yeah. I knew I liked that. And then as you've come in and talked about your church, I've loved the things that your church has a heart to do for the community. But hearing your backstory, it just has so much more impact, because in the heart of Lexington Park, you can truly reach out to people and understand where they're in the darkest and hardest places. So what we're going to do is we're going to take a quick break, and we come back now. We're going to talk a little bit more about your church, about your vision, what your church is doing as a community for our community. Because guess what? We live in the best place in the world.
I believe it.
We really do. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back in a moment as we continue with GAB with ALisa Profiles, as we profile Pastor Michael Barber. We'll be back in a moment.
Everybody knows Jeep is an American icon. It's fun on the road, off the road, to take you anywhere you want to go. Here at Fitzgerald, we have all the Jeep Chrysler models and our low posted price. There's no hassle, no haggle buying a car here. It's fun. Plus, it's backed up with Fitzway service.
Get 0% APR financing on almost every new 2015 Chrysler, Dodge, and Jeep.
Treat yourself to an American icon. That's the Fitzway. There's just no better way to go.
Life is a journey. Every day is a chance to do more, and be better. Hi, I'm Dawn Campbell. Join me on this journey to be your best, whether you're working in a cubicle, managing a full house, or entering a new chapter of life. If you feel good, you look good, inside and out. Join me each week for Be Your Best on MetroCast Channel 10. We can do it together. Be Your Best is brought to you by Burris's Old Town Insurance, an independent agent representing Erie Insurance Group.
You're watching GAB with ALisa Profiles on MetroCast Channel 10. So glad you joined us for this program. What an incredible story as we continue to profile Pastor Michael Barber from Dominion Apostolic Church. Now, being the pastor of a church, being in Lexington Park, church planting, if anybody knows anything about churches, that is an incredibly difficult job to do to start with. But you back up and look at your life 16 years ago when you were a self-professed drug dealer. You were stabbed and nearly died, and then someone stepped into your life and gave you basically a rope to hang on to, saying, I love you, which speaks to everything inside of you about having value and worth and going forward. Well, fast forward now, and even look back about 3 years ago, you pastor a church which is new in Lexington Park, Dominion Apostolic. How did that come about?
Well, basically, it was a hard thing to do, because the church I was at was a great church, but then God called me out to start this work. It was tough to leave friends and family there, but I had to do what God had called me to do. And in saying that, it's pretty much once, as we spoke of earlier, about when someone offers you a lifeline, now you have to offer others a lifeline. So now Dominion is a church that I teach the people to be a people who speak life, speak life into dark situations. If you look at where our church is located, it's in the same area square. Prior to us coming there, they said it's one of the darkest places in our city, but I believe God will always put a light in a dark place, and that's why I'm glad we're there. And it's been 3 years now, and we've seen great things. We're over 200 on Sundays.
Wow.
It's growing fast, and our whole goal is to get the people on board and fired up to help change our city in different ways, from education, naturally and spiritually, on both sides. So,
and that is a big thing with you when you talk about doing both sides, because one of the other things that clearly you love God, clearly you do, and then clearly you love basketball, refereeing, playing, going into the games and what have you. But that's one of the practical everyday application tools that you have used to reach and encourage people. You have a basketball league.
Yes. We love it. It's a chance every Saturday night. We have close to between 200 and 250 people come down to Carver Gym. And the whole goal is, we're a big outreach church. We normally do it in the summertime when we have War Cry and different things that we do. in our city, but in the wintertime, it's harder to hit the streets because it's cold.
Right.
So what we decided was the best way to do it is to have an event where people will come to you inside. And so the basketball league is 3 months in the wintertime where people can come, play basketball with 9 teams, but as well as they come, I share with the people in the church. It's not just a game, it's a chance for us to build relationships.
Right.
Because you never know who's going to walk in the door and are really hurting. They're hurting and could be on the verge of suicide. And by one word that you can speak at night of a basketball game can help save someone's life.
Yeah, environment is something so important to you. You recognize that let's give people an environment to come to.
That's so true. That's good.
Yeah, so that's incredible. What would you say is the vision going forward for the future for yourself and your congregation?
Well, right now we're building our home base here in Lexington Park. It's growing fast, and God is sending me ministers and different folks that can help see the vision come to pass. Our whole goal right now is we're in the square. Our whole goal is to buy the whole shopping center. And the purpose of buying the shopping center is because I want the people that come in that don't have jobs. Well, basically, if I could back up, there are people that we have now that are business owners. And I want them to be able to own those different shops in there so that when people come in and need jobs, they can come in and work for the different departments in there. So it's going to help out the city in different ways. And so it's really, as well, when people come, I like to find out what their gifts are, the talents and abilities are. So then, I'm a pastor that likes to find out what's in you and getting that out of you, and then putting that to work.
Wow. I can really tell how your life was leading you on a path to come here because, as we mentioned, environment and basketball and jobs, because it was so hard. You couldn't get a job and just feeling that frustration and nowhere to turn. And so now what you're looking to do is to turn that around for people in the community.
I guess the best way to explain it is unless you've experienced another man's pain, you can't understand his actions. And so in other words, I understand the pain of many people. And so I've been called out of that lifestyle to help people who are in that lifestyle because I know their pain and the frustration it feels like not to have a job and to have to struggle. But I want to provide different avenues naturally and spiritually for them to be able to get out of those situations and circumstances and let them know there is another way. And it doesn't have to be through jail.
Right.
So,
right.
So.
Now, Lexington Park is the part of St. Mary's County that people point to as being one of the more difficult communities. There are a lot of issues that go on in that community, economic and education and et cetera, et cetera. But you talk about Lexington Park and that community with such joy. What do you see in Lexington Park? Obviously there are challenges and things that need to be addressed, but you just really talk about Lexington Park with such joy and hope.
I just believe that places that have what some call darkness upon it have the most potential to be great. In other words, I believe that Lexington Park is going to be the epicenter of the next big revival. I really believe it, without no doubt. I have no doubt in my mind. So now what we're preparing is to change the minds of people. Basically, when your mindset says has a negative connotation concerning something, it's going to put a limit on what is capable of happening in that area. But if you begin to broaden the mindsets and let folks know that there's nothing impossible with God, it takes the limit off their minds. I believe that Lexington Park can be the next Hollywood, if you will. Sure. We have talented people here, and it's only a matter of them coming together, unifying, and that's something that we really love to do, is bring people together in different avenues and areas. But I do believe that our city is on the verge of greatness. I really believe it. Really believe it.
You can tell the passion. You just exploded right there. This was not a pre-chosen question. It was not predetermined what we're going to talk about. But as soon as I asked you that question, you could just see your passion, and you can tell you believe it in the deepest parts of yourself.
I want those around me to, because I really try to instill the passion and fire that I feel and the vision I see for our city and to the people that I'm connected to, because it takes more than one man or one woman to change a city. it takes all the churches. It takes everyone. That's why at War Cry, I really am really excited about just speaking to pastors about coming together to help and unify different efforts. Because I believe that if we all came together, there's nothing that we can't do.
Absolutely.
Nothing.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for leading the charge and for having such a great heart. And thank you for coming back to your home and bringing the gifts that you have and the passion and just, leading the charge in your own community. There's something to be said about that.
It's an honor. I'm just excited.
You are
I'm
incredible.
excited.
What an amazing story. I've so enjoyed talking to you.
It's been a
Thanks for
blessing.
joining us this time on GAB with ALisa Profiles. And you can get more information, of course, about Dominion Apostolic and War Cry, which is coming up later this year. Pastor Michael Barber, a wonderful profile guest. We'll see you next time. You're watching MetroCast Channel 10.